Hey everybody, music fans, how's it going? We are back with our Police top 10 songs. We did the ranking of the albums last week. This week we're going to do our top 10 songs. Unfortunately, Jason had to work today, otherwise, he would be here. I think Adam said he's going to drop his top 10 in the comments, so I'll be looking for that. Oh, speaking of which, I probably better pull the comment section up just in case. All right, but anyway, we're going to be going through our top 10 songs of The Police, Sting, Andy Summers, and Stuart Copeland. And joining us is Briar's Music Showcase and Nick Yarambinski. How are you guys doing this afternoon?
Pretty good. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here too.
Feel great.
All right, so we're going to just go in our usual order. Let's go ahead and get started with number 10.
Okay.
All right. So number 10 for me, we're going to go to this album. So starting off with my favorite of the Police album, we're going with So Lonely, which is the second song on here. Just a great, this is where you really get that blend of that reggae and that more post-punk sound and a little bit of the new wave sound into it. It's a perfect blend of all of that, and I really enjoy Sting's vocal delivery on it. And even Andy Summers has a really great guitar solo in this one. When I think of Andy Summers, I don't really think so much of his guitar solos. I always see him more as like a textural guitar player, but like a guitar solo just has a great melody to it, and when it rocks out during the chorus, it really just rocks out. So yeah, that's gonna be my number 10.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Great top 10. Great 10 spot. My number 10 is going to be from the Zenyatta Mandata album. That being said, my number 10 is going to be Don't Stand So Close to Me. Amazing way to start off the album. Just a great song to open up an album. The lyrics, interesting lyrics going on there. It's just a great medley. It's just a great song overall. Definitely deserve its hit status for sure. So yeah, that's my
And my number 10 is also Don't Stand So Close to Me. Just the way that it opens up the Zenyatta Mondada album with kind of the ominous synthesizer, and then Andy's guitar just kind of just going bump, 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 bump. And then it gets into kind of a reggae feel, like bump, 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 bump. And then Sting comes in, but he starts out low and sings the verse, and then whenever he gets to the chorus, it gets higher, and then the second verse he sings higher, and it just sounds really cool. If you want to see more about why I really like this song, go check out my Police ranking video that we did last week. I went in detail about why I like Don't Stand So Close to Me, but it's my number 10 song. It's got pretty much everything you'd expect from a Police song. Catchy melody, really good guitar, great drumming from Stuart Copeland. It's just really great song. So Don't Stand So Close to Me, number 10.
All right, well, you two stole my thunder because my number 9 is "Don't Stand So Close to Me." So, like you both just said, like it's just a great way to open the album with this kind of very ominous tone, and especially with Andy's like guitar little lick he does, and again has that good reggae vibe. And then when it gets to the chorus, it all goes back to this very upbeat, very catchy chorus, and of course lyrically it's very very scandalous for the time. Since it's kind of interesting that this was kind of inspired by Sting's stint as a school teacher, which is always kind of interesting as a little fun fact, I guess. But yeah, I don't have much else to add, but that's gonna be my number 9. Don't Stand So Close to Me.
My number 9. It's gonna be I'd say it's a deep track. I'm gonna be saying next is gonna be Regatta de Blanc, the title track from the album Regatta de Blanc. I don't really have. It's my second least favorite album of theirs, but it's usually my second or my third or whatever. I forgot where I ranked it, but it's definitely lower on my list. But it is a great song though. I love the track a lot with its vibrant opening with the great drums and towards the end, middle to end section with the ayo ayo. Like I always thought that was kind of cool. Yeah, it's just a great song overall. That's my number 9.
Cool. My number 9 is from the Regatta de Blanc album as well. We're going to be going with Message in a Bottle. And this is it's another opening track. But this is a great way to open the Regatta de Blanc album. Andy's guitar riff at the beginning is really great. Really difficult to play because you're playing a lot of ninth chords and a lot of sliding around and stretching. But really great riff. And in case you can't hear, Andy also overdubbed a harmony riff to it as well if you listen really carefully in the mix, and that just kind of makes it even better. Sting is giving it his all here vocally, especially on the sending out an SOS part at the end. Stewart is on fire with the drums. He's just going ham on the drums here. This is just another really great song, really catchy by the Police. Sting definitely showing off his vocal range on this one, but number 9 is going to be Message in a Bottle.
Awesome. Okay, number 8 for me, going back to this album, I'm going to go with Can't Stand Losing You. Another kind of a reggae-ish, but also very post-punk-ish type of song. Just again, lyrically, again, another kind of one of Sting's darker songs. Just writing a song about speaking to this girl and kind of leaving him, and he's kind of like, okay, I'm going to kill myself if you're going to go with somebody else. So kind of dark. And if you look up the single sleeve for it, it's also kind of dark. But besides that, still musically, it's still very catchy despite that, and I just really enjoy it still. So yeah, it's gonna be number 8 for me.
Okay, my number 8 is gonna be from the same album we were going. Briar was going over, Outlandos D'Amore. Truth Hits Everybody. Really great punk song. Definitely gets you in the mood. Just great follow up to a song you just mentioned. I Can't Stand Losing You. Just like you got You Can't Stand Losing You. Then the next song is like you just it makes you want to move. Especially when you're driving. Just like, yeah, frick yeah,
Yeah.
And then it's Born in the 50s, so 3 really great songs back to back to back.
Yeah, it's just a really great rocking song. I can't really complain about it. It's like every song on this top 10 is just there's nothing bad I could say about it. So yeah, it's my number 8 spot.
Jason says that Every Breath You Take, Don't Stand So Close to Me, and Roxanne are at the top of his list. Those are all very good songs.
Yes.
My number 8 is also I Can't Stand Losing You. This song is really catchy. The first time I ever heard this song, I was sitting in a coffee shop, and that the coffee shop, they played actual records, they weren't streaming. Like they had a big collection of records, and they would play full albums.
Nice.
And so for whatever reason, I knew the guy who was the barista, and I asked, like, what you going to play next? And he says, oh, I'm going to play this album here. And he pulls out Every Breath You Take, The Very Best of the Police on vinyl. And so I'm like, I've heard like a few of the Police's songs, and honestly, listening to that in the coffee shop is what got me into the Police in fall of 2021. But he drops the needle down. It starts off with Roxanne, I believe, and I knew that one. But then, like right after that, it was either the second or the third song because they went chronologically. It started playing I Can't Stand Losing You, and this really catchy chorus. I can't stand losing. I can't stand losing. And I had that in my head. I'm like, that's really, really catchy. So whenever I listen to it, I listen further, and it's like, oh, the lyrics to this are really dark.
There
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
It's about a guy who he just doesn't like it when things don't go his way, and even though his girlfriend broke up with him, he cares more about his pride than the girl or even his own life, apparently. But what I really like about this song, I love the line, I see you sent my letters back and my LP records now they're all scratched. I'm like, if my girlfriend scratched my records, I'd be upset too. But really great song. I Can't Stand Losing You, number 8.
Nice. Number 7 for me. I guess this is my only real deep cut on my list because with the Police, I always tend to favor a lot of their hits. They're kind of that type of band for me where I think the hits are their best songs, but they do have some really good deep cuts, and this is probably my favorite of their deep cuts. It's going off of Ghost in the Machine. I'm going with Darkness, the final track. It's not, there's not really a whole lot goes on in it, but I just actually really love the vibe of it. Again, when you have the keyboards going in, I think the keyboards really are the big standout of the song. It just has this really good melody to it, and yeah, I mean, I didn't get to look up what the song was about, but I just think it's a nice, cool way to kind of close out the album. Maybe not end off on a bang, but kind of just ease you out of it. Like this is like put you in a good mood. So that's gonna be my number 7.
My number 7 is gonna be off an album that we haven't talked about yet in this video, which is Synchronicity. And we'll be talking about the first track off of Synchronicity, which is the first track, Synchronicity 1. Really great track. Definitely when I first heard it with Briar and Eric from Soundweb Studios, like it got me into it like right away with the and it's like with one breath, with one heart, you will know synchronicity. I'm like, wow, this is gonna be great. And of course, the whole record's their best record for sure. But such a great song. That if I couldn't think of a better opening track for that album.
Mm. All right, my number 7 is also a deep track, and it's also from Ghost in the Machine. However, it's a different one. This song was written by Andy Summers and was going to be the lead single from Ghost in the Machine until Sting got a big head and said, "No, I didn't write this, so it's not going to be a single." But it's Omega Man. Omega Man is my favorite deep cut of the Police, and my favorite song that was written by a member other than Sting. This from the opening, this is going to be really cool. It has this really ominous, dark feel at the beginning with the do 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 do, and then Sting comes in and it kind of just goes like chugging along like bum 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 bum, and he's just kind of spitting out words like do 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 do. Yeah, and the melody is really great too. But what I really like about this song is then the chorus kind of goes back to that dark feel, kind of like you're falling down something. And then Andy Summers plays this guitar solo that sounds like you're a superhero or something, because I know it's about like the Omega Man, but like it sounds like the guitar solo specifically sounds kind of like video game music, kind of like if you get like the superpower that makes you invincible. That's what the guitar solo would sound like. I don't know if that's a good way to put it, but that's kind of what I think. Like you get the superpower, and it's like do 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 do. I don't know. That's kind of just what I imagine. But my number 7 is Omega Man.
Awesome. Okay, so moving on to number 6 for me, and I'm finally going to talk about this album now, and I'm going to go with Synchronicity 2. So, so this is the sequel to Synchronicity 1 that Nick was talked about earlier, and this is probably it's my favorite of the two. I mean, it was another one that kind of a big hit for them. Just like the whole intro. I mean, you have Stuart Copeland has this very great drum beats, and then you hear Sting give that, I just really cool, and also just there's just so much going on into it, but it doesn't feel too cluttered. It sounds just perfect the way it is. Just absolutely spectacular song. I mean, that's one of my favorite songs on the album, and so it's gonna be my number 6.
My number 6 is also from the Synchronicity album, and just barely missing out on the top 5 is going to be Mr. Denko. Definitely, after listening to Mother for the first time and just getting a good laugh out of that song, and then listening to Mr. Yenko, I'm like, wow, the song's incredible. I love this song. Definitely, I predicted when I was listening to their discography that Mr. Denko was going to at least be a top 10 song, and that's where I stand on it. It's my top 10 song, and just barely edging out from the top 5, though.
Miss Grodenko was written by Stuart Copeland.
I think it's incredible. Really great
it
song.
Is. It's a really good song on that album. It is not my number 6. My number 6 is hold on a second. We got some comments from Jason. Mother has got to be in the top 10, right? Jason says. No. My number 6 is not Mr. Danko. It is from going back to the Ghost in the Machine album, Spirits in the Material World. I feel like I've got pretty much all of the kickoff tracks on my top 10 other than maybe one or two. But Spirits in the Material World is the lead off track from Ghost in the Machine, and it definitely sets the tone very well for this album. With that ominous synth line, that beep, 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 and then Sting's bass comes in like the. Um, and this is the Ghost in the Machine album is a lot different than their other four albums. This album has a lot more of a darker feel, and Sting's lyrics are very politically charged and more not as bright and cheerful as some of his other stuff. And this song definitely showcases that. It's just a really great song, and if you've never checked it out, you should probably go check it out. It's a really good one. One of the singles released from this record, but Spirits in the Material World, number 6.
Okay, entering our top 5. For me, I'm going back to Synchronicity. I'm going to go with Wrapped Around Your Finger. I think that's probably one of the earliest songs I heard from the Police. I just was immediately hooked by that. I guess it's a keyboard thing in the beginning. Yes. I believe. Yes, that keyboard. That was immediately hooked onto that, and just the whole vibe of it is, again, just something hypnotic about it that really just grabbed me. And the way Sting is singing is also very good. It's one of my favorite Sting performances, but we'll get to that another one later. But yeah, just love the hook on it during the chorus that I'll be wrapped around your finger. Like, just absolutely love it. And even again, you hear those textural things that Andy Summers was doing. Like, once the chorus is done, you hear that little thing he does on the guitar, which again adds to the whole vibe to it. And Stuart Copeland's percussion work is also just perfect for the song as well, with the hi-hat that he does. And so yeah, it's a great song. Number 5 for me.
My number 5 is going to be off of Briar's favorite album, Outlandos D'Amour. My pick is going to be the lead-off track, Next to You. That track just rocks. That's a good way of putting it. But to be more in depth about it, when I first got into their discography, I only listened to their first 2 albums, and then I listened to Synchronicity, and then the rest is history. But when I first, because I heard they were like part of like a second wave British Invasion group, I knew I'm not gonna like do what I'm doing now, where I collect all the first wave British Invasion albums, but when I first heard that there was like a second wave, and I saw the Police on there, I'm like, ooh, I might check their albums out. When I first heard that very first song, I'm like, dang, this is really good. But yeah, it's just a really great opening track. Definitely no good times, bad times, or I saw her Standing There by the Beatles, but definitely up there for best opening tracks to a career.
Nice.
All right, my number 5, and a lot of these top 5 songs are going to be coming from the same record, but my number 5 is Synchronicity 2 from the Synchronicity album. Does a fantastic song, definitely my favorite song on the A side of this album, and a great way to end the A side. Starts out very ominously with the synthesizer, and then like the drums come in and the beat gets going, and Sting, lots of great imagery on this song, like packed like lemmings into shiny metal boxes, contestants in a suicidal race, just to list one of the lines that I think is really descriptive of it. But the song is basically outlining how somehow a man's anger with his daily suburban life is correlating with the Loch Ness Monster. So it all has to do with a theory that he was reading at the time, which he kind of loosely based the album off of. But just a really great song, really cool, really atmospheric is the best word I'd have to say for it. That's going to be my number 5. Let's see, we got a comment real quick. Zeb says, does anyone have Mother in their top 10? It's Super Wannabe King Crimson. I do not. Well, I guess now we have completed our halfway point, so I'm going to go ahead and say to you guys, if you like what we're doing here and you feel like we've earned your subscription, why don't you go ahead and smash that subscribe button, give us a like real quick, and you'll get to see more great content like this, maybe some Police album reviews and some other album reviews and top 10 videos by some other great artists from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So back to the ranking.
Also, before don't mean to be don't want to do a shameful plug, but me and Gary just recently did a review on Stay with the Hollies on my channel.
Oh, yeah, go check that out.
Anyone who's a fan of his channel, come over to my channel and check that review out. Every week until we're done with their albums. We're going to be reviewing all their albums.
And if you're tired of watching album reviews where everyone goes, "This is amazing, this is so good," and you want to see Nick and I just roast an album, go check that review out.
Yeah, that's going to be the only album you're really going to see me talk negative about the Hollies. That's for sure.
All right,
let's get back to the Police top 10.
All right. Okay, onto a number 4. This is the only song off this album I have. So we have, so it's going to be the lead-off song, "Message in a Bottle," that Garrett's mentioned before. I actually learned this song on bass. It's actually not too tricky. A lot of Sting's bass lines aren't too difficult. It just, some of them is kind of like, there's like a unique rhythm to it that you sometimes gotta wrap around your finger on, but yeah, once you get it, it's not too bad. And this is one of the simpler songs, and I especially love it during that little breakdown, like dun, 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 dun. Like, I just love playing that. Yeah, I just absolutely love playing that. But yeah, it's a great kickoff song on here. It's my favorite song on the album. Just this very catchy, very upbeat song, and of course Stuart Copeland's drumming on here is also spectacular as well. So yeah, and also before I go on, also the whole guitar intro with Andy Summers is also very worth noting. So yeah, that's my number 4.
Well, I'm gonna be with you on that one. My number 4 is also going to be the lead-off track for Regatta de Blanc, "Message in a Bottle." It's an incredible song. I basically almost everything Brian and Gary has already said about that track. It was my favorite song by them for a very, very long time, very long. Before Garrett and Breyer introduced me to great Police songs, such as two of them will be my top 3, but you get the idea.
Okay, my number 4 is the song that some of you probably never want to hear again, but it's a great song, so I'm going to mention it. "Every Breath You Take" from Synchronicity. It's the lead-off track from the second side. The B-side to this album is just absolutely perfect, so expect most of the songs from the B-side to be here on my list. But just starting from that snare hit, you're like, this is really cool. It's another very atmospheric song, and a lot of times people mistake this song for a love song. But if you ask Sting, he said it was a stalker song because he was going through a painful divorce at the time. And sometimes whenever you feel a certain way that you know you're not supposed to feel, and you're a songwriter, you write a song with a caricature of yourself to kind of address the bad feelings you're feeling so you can show yourself why it's bad. Kind of like, I know the Beatles, "Hard Day's Night," you have songs like "You Can't Do That," or there's another, "I'll Cry Instead," where John Lennon was kind of writing parodies of some of the harsh things that he was feeling at the time to kind of deal with that. But what's interesting is this was one of the top played songs at weddings in 1983. And Sting, in an interview, it was either an interview or someone just asked him about that, and he said, "If you ever hear somebody request this at a wedding, don't marry them." Because he said it's supposed to be a creepy song. And it was written at a very difficult time in his life. So it's interesting how you can write a song that's just so beautiful, and then you take a closer look at the lyrics and you see that it's kind of more sinister intent. But as for the music itself, I really like Andy Summers' guitar riff. This is another one where you have to use a lot of ninth chords and stretches. Slightly easier than "Message in a Bottle," but kind of because of the slower tempo, it makes it a little tricky as well. I really like the bridge section whenever Sting sings higher and there's some piano in there. I like the outro. Now, it's really interesting because I worked at a restaurant for a while, and they would sometimes play this song, but sometimes they would play some kind of rap remix of this song.
Oh
Where
yeah, I know what you're talking
someone
about.
had sampled it,
Yeah.
and I heard the start, and I'm like, oh, it's the Police, and then they started rapping over it. I'm like, what did you do to the Police? And then the chorus was the same as the verse, but with different words, and it just threw me for a loop. I was like, I want to hear the Police, and then the next time I heard the do 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 do, I'm like, oh no, here it comes, and then Sting comes in, every breath you take. I'm like, oh, thank goodness they played the Police this time. But I know that a lot of you people watching are like, they play this on the radio every 3 minutes on a different station. I never want to hear this again. I can understand that, but if you listen to it in the context of the Synchronicity album, it's really an amazing song. If you just take a look at it as part of the album A and B, if you just stay away from the radio for a while, because overexposure can often kind of take you away for some actually pretty good songs. So that's what I'm going to say about that one.
Yeah, I was working with someone who used to play the radio all the time, and I heard those Tom Sawyer, Every Breath You Take so many times, and I'm just like, I'm done with these songs.
Oh,
But speaking of a stalkerish craze song with the Beatles, with the Rubber Soul.
oh,
Oh yeah.
yep.
Well, yeah.
Well, that was
Yeah,
actually taken from an
yeah,
Elvis
yeah.
song, but
Okay.
anyway, if I was a radio executive, I would still play it, but I wouldn't play it all the time. I would play some deep cuts like Omega Man and,
Yeah.
kind of shed some light on some other Police songs.
Here's the thing, though, is they don't really have a choice what they put on. It's like I think they're given a playlist because people who were around the radio station are like people who are like.
I'm talking about if I had my own independent radio station.
Say if you're like.
If I had a lot of money and just opened an independent radio station, I would be like, we're going to be listening to Omega Man by the Police. And then I would be like, every Friday at 7 o'clock, we're going to have classic album time where we listen to a full album where the commercial break only happens in between the two halves of the album. But
that's actually a cool idea. But yeah, I would say like radio stations, they don't, you can't really blame them because people want all the hits, and it gets to the point where they only have to play the hits,
I would play a good mixture of hits and some tracks that could have been hit and should have been hits.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, there's my rabbit trail about radio stations.
Yes.
All right. Well, Garrett, I got your back though, because my number 3 is Every Breath You Take.
Okay.
Yes. So
I know Nick still likes it, even if it's not in his top 10. He might be a little
I
more.
like the song, but
yeah.
Garrett predicted it's not going to be in my top 10.
Yeah, I know, I get it, and I get it too. But yeah, I don't have much to add because I think Garrett did a pretty good job at summarizing it. Yeah, classic song. Is it overplayed? Maybe, but it's still a terrific song. It's the best Stalker song ever written, so that's my number 3.
I mean, Nights on Broadway by the Bee Gees comes pretty close, but
yeah. At least Broadway is not as explicit about it.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 3. I wouldn't say it's like a big hit. My dad said it was really overplayed back when he was growing up with the song. Not growing up, but like when he was a teenager and the song was being played a lot. But I'm going to be talking about Synchronicity 2 off of Synchronicity. As Brian was talking about it before, it is way better. I wouldn't say way better, but it is the better of the 2 Synchronicities. I do agree with that. There's just so much depth and layers and there's so much going on in that song. And it should be played nowadays. It definitely should be. To me, it's way better than Every Breath You Take, and to me, it's way better than Roxanne ever could be. But I could go on a long tangent about this, how that song could be better than those 2 songs. But I'm just gonna leave it at this. It's incredible. Listen to it after this. If you haven't ever heard it before, after the review, go straight to that song. It's amazing. Same with the other 2 songs on my top.
Definitely check it out. All right, my number 3 is Wrapped Around Your Finger. I remember I marathoned the Police albums. I'd listened to Outlandos D'Amour by itself, but then everything from Regatta de Blanc through Synchronicity I listened to in one sitting because I just kept liking what I was hearing, just wanted to keep listening through. But I remember whenever I get to the Synchronicity album and listening to Wrapped Around Your Finger, just feeling like this is really hypnotizing and an amazing song. And There are some songs where the music video absolutely ruins the song, and you shouldn't watch the music video while listening to it. And then there are some songs where the music video elevates the music, and that's kind of what I feel with this song because there's this really cool music video where Sting is in like this room. It's like this pitch black room, and all that's around him is like this maze of candlesticks. And like Sting just like jumps, like he's just like hopping around, and he takes one of the candlesticks and he just like knocks them all over, and they fall over like dominoes, and it looks really cool. And he's doing all that in slow motion, which is really cool. But Stuart Copeland, definitely one of his best drum performances on this song. Lots of added extra percussion in there, just expertly timed. Really great percussion here. Really great bass as well. And then, of course, the lyrics, also kind of dealing with Sting's divorce at the time, kind of somebody who was in charge not being in charge anymore. Lots of literary references in there, too. The Odyssey, Faust, and then, of course, there's that famous, well, how would you describe it? Roll switching at the end where it goes from I'll be wrapped around your finger to you'll be wrapped around my finger. It's just a really great, catchy song. Another very atmospheric song, which the Police do really well with atmospheric music, but it's my number 3. Also, if you happen to get the first pressing on vinyl, this song sounds absolutely amazing, and the bass just pops out of the speakers.
Nice. All right. Okay, so on to number 2. So for me, number 2, I'm going to go with, back to this album, with probably my favorite song on the album, King of Pain. Yeah, so King of Pain, just another one of those very, almost pretty beautiful song. Like, it's definitely one of my favorite lyrics by Sting. Just the imagery he puts into it is just absolutely spectacular. Just absolutely love it. And the intro, you have that little percussion that's also really cool, and the chorus is just so memorable, so catchy, and yeah, it's just one of those songs I play on. It gets a bit emotional. So yeah, King of Pain's my number 2.
I'm actually gonna go with Briar on this one. I was really hung up on whether to putting King of Pain at number 1 or number 2, but after listening to my number 1 and my number 2, I'm like, yeah, King of Pain. I'm gonna stick to number 2 for now. My list is gonna change, of course. I still need to give Ghost in the Machine another chance because none of those songs ended up on my top 10. Which to me, I feel like it's a crime because I need to give that album another chance.
Track 2 on Ghost in the Machine needs to be in everyone's top 10.
Yeah, I've heard that song so many times to the point where it's not even good. Same with the I like Every Breath You Take. I've heard enough to the point where I'm like, I can take or leave it now. But every little thing she does is magic is to the point where I'm like, no, I'm done with this song.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, they'll never be in my top 10. So, but it's not a bad song. It's just, radio ruined it for me. But yeah, King of Pain, way better than Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic. But I digress. But it's a great track. Briar described it well. My favorite part is when all the instruments go like when it's like isolated vocals and then like the music comes back and I'm like, yes, this is so good. And when I first heard the track, I'm like, wow, like how is this the first time I'm now hearing this song? Like I felt guilty. I felt really guilty not having this song in my knowledge of music up until now. So yeah.
Well, we're going to go with the trifecta here because my number 2 is also King of Pain. Except I can have a more personal story behind this song. The fall I was listening to this, I had a huge crush on a girl, but then like she got a boyfriend and I wasn't even able to tell her I liked her. And I feel like she was way out of my league though. So It took me like a month and a half to get over her. And this song was like my best friend during that period because I was listening to the Police and I would play the Synchronicity album over and over again. And I would just like scream the words to this at the top of my lungs, singing along with it in the car. I don't know. But as for the song itself, starting off with xylophone, like that's absolutely amazing that a rock song starts out with xylophone, and it's just like the xylophone and the piano, and then this whole song just kind of builds. Like you get Andy coming in later on. Sting sings just by himself the first time, but then he had some harmony on the second chorus. And then, like Nick was mentioning, whenever it all just drops out and it's just Sting singing, and then you can hear the ominous woo. It's the same old thing as yesterday. Woo. And then it builds in bum 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 bum, and it comes back in really strong. More great imagery in this song. You can just kind of feel like the pain in his voice with this song. It's just an absolutely amazing song, and it would be my number one song if it was not for a different song, but we will get to what that is in a moment. So let's get to some honorable mentions.
All right, so for honorable mentions, for me, wasn't as many as the Rolling Stones, but still a good amount. So yeah, so I'll just go with these very quickly. So starting with the Outlandos d'Amour, we have Next to You, Roxanne, and Born in the 50s. From Regatta de Blanc, of course, Walking on the Moon, Contact, Does Everyone Stare. From Zenyatta Mondatta, we have When the World is Running Down, Canary in a Coal Mine, Da Do Do Do, Da 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 Da, Man in the Suitcase. Then into Ghost in the Machine, we have Spirits in the Material World, Invisible Sun, Hungry for You, Demolition Man, Too Much Information, Omega Man. And from Synchronicity, I have Synchronicity 1, Miss Grodenko, and while originally not on the LP but on the CD copy, I'm also going to include Murder by Numbers.
That's a good song.
For my honorable mentions, I'm gonna do what Brian did. I'm gonna go through all their albums, which is only 5. For the Rolling Stones, I'd be like,
yeah,
the rest could speak for themselves, the ones I like. But as for Outlandos d'Amour, So Lonely is really, really great song. Hole in My Life, even though it's a little repetitive, I kind of do like how they sing that song, the chorus with the "There's a hole
in my life. In my life.
I Stand Losing You. I love that song. Not a top. It would probably be my track number 11 for if I was doing like a top 25. That's about it for that album. I'll give you a hint. My number one is going to be on that album, but that's a hint. It's All Right for You. I like a lot. Bring on the Night. I like. Death Wish. I love. Walking on the Moon is amazing. Zenyatta Madonna, German to Tears, When the World is Running. Canary in a Coal Mine, I love. I was really surprised that wasn't in my top 10. I really like that song. Dee do do do, dee da da da, whatever. Even though this song beat YYZ behind my camel, I like. That's a. There's in the Material World. Omega Man, I do like that song. But yeah, that's about it for that album. But like I said, I need to give that album another chance, though.
Definitely.
Walking in Your Footsteps. Oh my God. Seeing the Sahara. Wrapped Around Your Fingers. Yeah. Even Every Breath You Take, I'll give a shout out to. So yeah, that's my honorable mentions.
All right, from Outlandos d'Amour, Next to You, So Lonely, Roxanne, Truth Hits Everybody, and Born in the 50s. Regatta de Blanc, the title track, It's All Right for You, Bring on the Night, Walking on the Moon, Contact, and Does Everyone Stare. From Zenyatta Mondatta, Driven to Tears, When the World is Running Down, You Make the Best of What's Still Around, Canary in a Coal Mine, The Do 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 Da 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 Da, and Man in a Suitcase. From Ghost in the Machine, Invisible Sun, Demolition Man, Too Much Information, I already have Omega Man, Secret Journey, and Darkness. And from Synchronicity, basically all the songs that I haven't listed up to this point, other than Mother. And also Murder by Numbers. Before we get into our number one, I have a really interesting story about Murder by Numbers. So by this point, when the police were recording with Hugh Padgham, they were recording in 3 separate rooms. Stuart Copeland had his drum set up in the dining room, which was actually in a building across the street. And Sting was in the control room with his bass. And Andy Summers was in the studio with his guitar rig and his amps. So they were all in the dining room eating dinner. and Sting kind of scribbles down some words for Murder by Numbers, and it's like, I have an idea for a song that's kind of like this, and Stuart Copeland's just like, oh, well, let's try a little drum beat kind of like this, and he starts playing the intro on the drums, that kind of sound. I can't exactly imitate it because it's in a really weird time signature, but he just keeps doing that, and Sting says, just keep doing that. Hold on just a second," and then Sting and Andy run across the street and get into the studio. And Stuart Copeland just keeps playing the drums, and a few seconds later, he hears in his monitors Sting sing that first line, and then Andy just joins in on the guitar chords, the boom, 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 and they finish, and they all clap, and then Hugh Padgham says, "All right, that's a take," and that's what you hear on the record. Is them? They basically, that's the first and last time they ever played that song.
Cool. All right. So now we're up to our number one. So my number one, and I've talked about this song before on my channel.
Oh no. Hold on a second.
You saw that comment too.
He wants to talk about "Don't Stand So Close to Me" '86. It's good. That was actually the first version of the song I heard. I actually really like it. It's almost as good as the original, but it doesn't beat the original.
Yeah.
I definitely think Stuart Copeland should have played on it, but he was supposed to play on it, but he had broken his arm at the time, and that's why there's drum machines. Because if you know Stuart, he would not have wanted the drum machines to replace him. I feel like he would be kind of like Phil Collins, who would use real drums and drum machines to complement the real drums. But
yeah. So back to my number one. So this I've talked about before on my channel. Is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's off this album. It's gonna be "Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic," and just the intro alone just sold me on it. It's just the simplest ascend, and it's just going up. But then you have the piano and the guitar just working around it. Just sounds absolutely. I just absolutely love it. And then it gets into the chorus. The drums start to kick in. Then you hear that bam, and then it goes right into the chorus. It's just as infectiously catchy chorus. Like I always sing this song to myself a lot of times. And lyrically, it's not too deep, but it just fits the overall tone of the song itself. And yeah, I mean, I can go more in depth about it, but I talked about before on my channel when I did my top 100 favorite songs series. It was in my top 10. So if you want more, what I have more to say, go watch that video from me. It was my turn to do a shameless plug, but yeah, that's my
no, definitely go. In fact, go watch all of his top favorite songs videos because they're all really good.
Yeah, but yeah, that's gonna be my number one.
Okay, my number one. It's gonna be a shock to everyone. My number one is gonna be "Mother" by the Police. Off of the Synchronicity 2 album. It's just genius.
Synchronicity 2.
The very genius lyric. Every girl I go out with, she comes to my mother in the end. Very symbolic. Very amazing.
Very relatable. Yeah.
The best.
I thought you were gonna say "On Any Other Day" there for a minute.
Very. That was going to be my second favorite, but I didn't want to be too brash, so I just picked a different song, "King of Pain," because went with the flow. But also, I also really like the vocals. Definitely the best vocals of all time. Yeah, I'm joking, of course. My number one is going to be "Born in the '50s." That is serious though.
That's a good one.
I love that track. Definitely rocking it. It's really good. The lyrics are interesting, really good. It's not the trippy hippie, but
it definitely could have been. I'll have to ask him what his favorite Police song is.
But in all seriousness, the way Sting they all just like kind of rock out on that song. It's really really good. Yeah, it just rocks out the whole way through, and that's going to be my actual number one.
Yeah, that's probably Sting's most aggressive vocal performance, especially during the bridge. He's just really putting more grit into his vocals on that.
Yeah, he puts his heart and soul into it.
Yeah. Sorry, Nick. My number one is "Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic" from Ghost in the Machine.
Yay!
This was the very first Police song that I ever heard, and it's amazing. Just starting out with that little hi-hat flourish that Stuart Copeland does at the beginning is just like iconic. Like from the second you hear it, you're like, you know what song it is just from hearing. But I like that they also have piano on this song. What's interesting is that the song is actually from a demo that Sting did of the song, and he liked the demo recording so much that that's what they ended up putting on the record. But unfortunately, that meant that Stewart and Andy had to overdub their parts on top of what Sting had already recorded, and that made Stewart Copeland kind of upset because he thought the whole thing about the Police is that they would record all their stuff at the same time rather than overdubbing it. But still, Stewart manages to record one of his best drum tracks on it, even though he's just playing over what Sting had already recorded. But what I really like about this song is kind of the use of text painting in the song, because the song is about a hopeless romantic. He's got a crush on a girl. He wants to call her up, and like he's so close to picking up the phone and calling her, but then he just doesn't do it because he's too afraid. And the music perfectly complements that. Like Briar was talking about, it just kind of keeps climbing up. It starts, it goes boom, the bass line is boom, 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 which you guys are gonna think I'm speaking some kind of foreign language here, like musicianese. But this song is at the beginning. The verses are in Lydian mode, which means that it uses a sharp 4 instead of a regular fourth. And a sharp 4 wants to resolve to a fifth. But what Sting does is he keeps building on that and keep over and over again going the root and then the second, the third, and the sharp 4. But instead of resolving it to the fifth, he just keeps going back down to the root, and he keeps just repeating those 4 notes over and over again, kind of showing the guy like going crazy, about to pick up the phone and call her, but he doesn't. But then whenever he finally does, it's in his head because it gets to the chorus and it resolves to the note it wants to go to. But the chorus is kind of in his head, just thinking every little thing she does is magic. And what I really like about this song is the outro where they're just kind of jamming and going, EO, EO, EO. It's just a really fun song. And then Sting just kind of like screaming at the every little thing, every little thing. And then at the end, like he kind of goes off into a completely different melody as it's fading out. You have to listen really carefully, but it's a kind of a new section and just one of the great pop songs of all time, and that's why it's my number 1. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments we got here. What is the Police's greatest strength? Vocals, instrumentation, or songwriting?
Going to be all three, because
it's all three.
It's really, you need all three of them in order to make the Police.
But like,
take one out.
He's asking like, what would you say? Like something you say would be like the strongest point. Like, of course. I
would say instrumentation then, if I had to choose one.
Yeah,
I probably pick vocals. Sting has a really unique voice. He's the reason why I even got into him in the first place. So yeah, instrumentation second, but the songwriting sometimes could be anything but good sometimes, But
the songwriting goes from anything from amazing to what the heck is this?
Yep, that's pretty much Mother. For that. And Any Other Day.
Yeah. There's a house on a corner. I'm drowning in misery. All right. Thank you guys for watching today. Our top 10 songs of the Police. We will see you later. I think the next video we're going to be doing is top 10 songs of Creedence Clearwater Revival. I will be in touch with these guys to see whenever we can do that. But until then, we will see you later, and thanks for watching.
Adios.